also the stigma, no? On yeah, I'm
Yeah,
saying it wrong. I'm not doing this, or I'm mocking, or I feel like I'm mocking the language in front of them.
exactly. Yeah, so it is easier for a child, and they pick it up. And I've got a feeling that once they've got one language, it sort of opens up the neurons in the brain to quickly pick up other languages. I've got friends who speak 7, 8, 9 languages. I can barely get by in
Mm.
English. So, but
Yeah,
my
I suppose that's always like when you start opening a little bit of like the doors to other things, you start realizing. I have a very weird experience with this, and it's just like German helps you to learn Greek. This is something that you would never consider, for example, and that's because the grammatic of both languages are the same.
ah,
So um, it happens, of course. Like as more languages you add to your repertoire, let's say like this, the easiest is to learn other new ones, or at least I feel like that. Um, what
I
about
think you do,
school
and I think
wise?
sorry.
For school wise, like did your daughter went into a you like English school, or was she starting in Japanese school
No,
suddenly?
no. I don't personally believe in dropping a child into a mono-language school. If,
Mm,
well, for lots and lots of reasons, but because we thought we knew we were only going to be there for a set number of years and she would be moving back to the UK, we kept her in the British educational system, so British International School. And as I say, things didn't quite, we didn't, my crystal ball didn't work. So,
mm.
but yeah, so they did language and a lot of cultural lessons in school, but it was taught in English. And
Okay.
yeah, so
Yeah, makes sense. It's also something that I also get quite often. No, when you have an end date and
mm,
you have like a date limit, you also, I don't know, you take things different from a different perspective. You don't, I don't know, you don't fully immerse from days one on like, oh, I need to be here forever. No, so um,
yeah, there's
how much did you feel that you entered the Japanese culture? How much did you end being in it?
well, I recognize that Japanese is a very pure culture, and looking as I do, I can never be fully immersed. I can't be Japanese, apart from the fact I'm 6 foot tall. They would direct me to the men's department if I wanted shoes. So we're never quite sure how to take me. But I recognise that it doesn't matter if I wear full kimono to school and speak Japanese like a native, I can still never be Japanese. And
Mm,
mind you, it's the same in some villages here in the UK. If your great grandparents weren't born in that same house, you're still an outsider. So,
yeah.
but yeah, it is a very different lifestyle when you know that you'll be moving on. And for some people, it means that they will stay in their expat bubble and they will only mix with people of their own nationality. And
Mm.
they won't even venture to even try local food, for example. They will only have the McDonald's. Or it's a bit like people who go on holiday to an all-inclusive resort.
Yeah.
And I don't
Sounds
understand.
familiar. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I don't
don't
get it either.
understand them. So it's quite difficult. I try and get into the minds of other people, but there are some I can't do.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, at the same time, like you really go to Japan and you don't try the local food. Like
Mm.
this is like I don't know. You've been like probably eating sushi that it doesn't resemble any close to real sushi in Japan for quite a long time. So, uh,
Yeah, I'm
how
forever
was that?
disappointed. I'm forever
Is real?
disappointed at English.
Uh, I can get it. It is really different. Like you notice, like it is a complete different world food wise, or what?
Yeah, absolutely. Fish, I don't know. I know a lot of animals and birds and wildlife and a few fish, but there are fish that appear in a sushi and sashimi restaurant that I don't have a clue about. Um, but I would try anything once. I went to a sushi bar. A Japanese friend of mine took me to a behind the scenes sushi bar, one that wasn't for tourists. They were very surprised to see me there. And I just pointed something at random, and he said to my friend, "Is she sure she wants that? Are you sure?" Yeah, because she would like to dare me to eat stuff. Yeah, give that to her, that's fine. It wasn't the nicest, it was very rich. And then she told me it was whale.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, but there we go.
Well,
It was.
yeah.
But then
Sometimes,
she
no?
would invite me for breakfast and offer me baby octopus food. So yeah, she was always
Okay.
daring me.
What about the amount of people? This is something that I always don't know how I would deal with because you lived in Tokyo, like the city itself.
Yeah.
It's a very populated, dense city. Like, how did you deal with and cope with
It didn't bother me in the slightest because I used to live in London. And yeah,
Okay.
and also being that much over everybody, even in London, it's easier for me. I'm not stuck in somebody's armpit on the tube. But yeah, I didn't personally notice that it was overly busy.
Mm,
It was, yeah, it was just a city as far as I'm concerned, and it wasn't crazy like Beijing. Beijing crossing the road feels scary, but Japan, their whole ethos is respect for others. So you never
okay.
felt barged or, it was a very calm place. I found it incredible.
Nice. When does it come, the move to Berlin? I think I read in the website, or I heard in your podcast about the earthquake in 2011, and
Yeah,
that being a little
20.
bit the trigger.
It wasn't the trigger. We were supposed to go the previous year, got an extension. I think we were supposed to go the previous November, but for schooling reasons, they gave us an extension. So we were due to leave in the April of 2011. And then, of course, on March the 11th was the 9 magnitude earthquake. So we didn't leave because of the earthquake, but it did make leaving so much harder for logistical reasons and, frankly, mental health reasons. We didn't have a time to say goodbye to anybody. We wanted to leave, but we didn't want to leave, and a fair amount of PTSD as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the lead up to leaving Japan was really tough on my daughter, regardless of the earthquake, because she was at that age then. We were moving somewhere that she'd never been before. I'd never been before, but I'm an adult. I can see into the future and I can understand concepts, but children cannot. They can only reference something based on their little experiences of the past. So it was a difficult move anyway. And then the earthquake made it just absolutely impossible to deal with. So but we finally got out and we landed in Berlin. I think it was about 2:00 in the morning eventually. And
Okay.
and then that was it. Yeah. And that was a
It was
culture.
also Berlin. I mean, I get it
because
also.
I look German, apparently. So
You
therefore,
what?
everyone expected me to speak fluent German. Failed my O-level, my GCSE German, but because I apparently look German, I was expected to understand all the rules and everybody. So that when you see lots of people that look like you in a country that you kind of assume is going to be similar to Western Europe all over, yeah, it's not.
If you liked this short video out of the full episode, you can find the link to it around here and in the description below. Of course, if you are also interested in checking out other episodes, please subscribe and like.